Hi guys, welcome to today's video. Don't mind, I'm a little sick, but we're gonna talk about coping skills while I do some makeup. So let's get it started. First though, I have to make my emergency because we just started a brand new quarter and I'm ill. Like, what the heck? This one's the pink lemonade flavor. It's so bomb. I hate the raspberry and orange, which are like the most common ones. No. Also tropical. Tropical's really good. Okay, that's enough. I'm not gonna do primer as I'm only gonna do like small makeup. Okay, so first coping skill that I would say that is my most used one is listening to music that you enjoy. Normally, I like to listen to sad music because, I don't know, I feel more understood with sad music, or that someone else does feel the amount of sadness I feel. Maybe not like exactly what it is or exactly how much it is. Oh, that's terrible. Oh my goodness. But someone that does feel sad, you know? My favorite artist to listen to is like Melanie Martinez, or I used to have an emo phase, so I would listen to My Chemical Romance a lot, which was when I was at my lowest, so it would help me. So it was like, oh, somebody feels the same amount of rage, or someone feels like this is capable to feel this way. So I found it very helpful. A lot of people have told me like listening to sad music makes it worse or something like that, but personally I felt that it didn't. I felt more at peace with sad music than like upbeat, happy stuff, because at least for me, it felt like, why can't I be the same level as them? Or how are they so happy with all this stuff going on? So, I don't know. But listen to whatever your heart desires, whatever it calls to you. I would not recommend, like, music or songs that are saying how they're going through stuff. Like, songs about offing oneself, because it did kind of make it worse when I would listen to them. So I'd recommend not listen to that, but more so just how someone voices it out, if that makes sense. I swear, I feel like my under eyes are like a little cray-cray. Next one. Also, if you don't think I'm certified to talk about this stuff, I'm probably not. But I do have my fair share of sadness since I was really small. So I feel like these are the ways I was able to get to where I am today, minus therapy, because I wasn't really a therapy person until now. But I did get to a not happier spot. Well, yeah, a happier spot with my life and less depressed without therapy. So this is what I did, but I should have gone to therapy. But you know, you live and you learn. Okay, brows done. Now we're doing some eyeballs. Okay, next one I felt to cope was through writing. Now, it is a very common thing to say like, oh, journaling, whatever. I personally hated journaling, or I just was never consistent. So to me, it wasn't like my favorite thing to do. It did help in some aspects, but nobody really told me how to journal and what would be more effective for me. So this is where the advice comes in. I'd say if you are experiencing something, a strong emotion towards a person, write it as a letter and like have the idea that they will read it even if you will not give it to them. Just something that you can just pour your entire emotion onto and write with no boundary. Because with me, journaling there's no like it's written to somebody. So I don't know, because I always had issues with people, whether it was like my parents, with myself, or sometimes I would say that my depression was a separate person than me. So I'd write it to like, dear depression, you suck, stuff like that, and like why it sucks. So I found addressing it to somebody was more, I was more able to talk about it. And second, I've wrote kind of like in forms of poems. I love poems. Poems are amazing. I'm not the greatest poet, but when I would read poems, they felt more emotional than just normal writing or fiction. There was more umph in sadness or whatever it was than normal. So I would write it in a form of a poem with no obviously poetic grammar rules, because that's not what we're here for. Also, I don't like reading mine. Occasionally I will, but once I write it, I try not to look at it again, because I'm like, I felt that in the past. I don't want to trigger something in myself again. Or I'm just, you know what, I'm gonna leave it. I wrote it on paper, or I wrote it in my phone notes, and I'm done. Just a way of feeling it and putting it and confronting it and getting over it. Next coping skill I would recommend is recording a video and talking to yourself as if it was an audience, or just to yourself. I feel like verbalizing instead of just internalizing. Verbalizing what you feel is very helpful instead of keeping it in the brain. I feel like it makes you like acknowledge that it's real. It's a real emotion. How does this work? Oh my god, I bought the new elf wands. Well, not so new, but kind of new. How do you just squeeze it out? Or what's going on? Oh yeah, just squeeze it out. That looks terrible. What the heck? I have to just beat my face like forever. Next one that I do often to cope and self-care also is bed rotting. Now, you have to be careful with this one because bed rotting too much is not good. Like staying in bed, doing absolutely nothing for a long period of time or days is not great. I feel like you feel worse, but bed rotting for like a day, a couple hours is fine, especially, which leans into the next one, especially if you go outside at least once a day. Feel the sun or see the moonlight, the moonshine, even if it's kind of cold or it's too hot, feel nature. Nature is always there. There's so much in this world that we can get. So I'd say, touch some grass. Feel the breeze in your face. This looks not that great. I don't know if I like this. Maybe if I use a brush. Oh, it's way better with a brush. Can you tell I have blush on? Kind of. It looks worse on camera than it does in person. Last thing is the most hardest coping skill to maintain. And it is putting yourself first, or learning to put yourself first. I used to never make myself a priority, and I'd always put other people before myself. But since figuring out like why do I feel so sad most of the time, I realized I never attempted to put myself first. That I just would always think about other people's emotions. I never really consider my own. I would just say yes. I never said no. I've tried for now the past 3 years since I've been in college to make myself number one. If I don't want to do something, I'm not going to do it. Like, let's say there's a party. If I really don't feel up to it, I'm not gonna go. Even if I get ready and I'm all ready to leave the house, and the moment I'm like, you know what, I truly don't want to leave, I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna stay my ass at home. Or sometimes with classes, I'm not feeling it. Like, I know if I'm gonna go, I'm not gonna pay attention anyway. There's no point of me walking out of the house and going, so I'll just stay in bed. If I need the extra hour or 2 to go to sleep, I'll do it. Because life's too short to assume that you have to do things or that you need to do something for somebody, because in the end of the day, you only have you, and you don't know when life's going to be taken away or if something bad happens, you know? Now, it's not to like create fear, but it's to put in a perspective that life is so unpredictable and you really just have yourself. If you're not good, how do you expect other things to be good? I think I'm done. This looks kind of interesting. Let me kind of fix it. To summarize, if you didn't really understand what I'm saying, we really should find a healthy way to cope, because negative coping skills are not helpful. And I've been there. I've gone through almost a lot of different coping skills, both bad and good, and I will say negative ones make you feel significantly worse. Like, there's no benefit to any of them. They're all temporary fixes, and they make you feel worse after you do it. It's not for me, and I never wish anybody to feel that they have to do a negative coping skill like self-harm or drugs, alcohol abuse, anything like that, because 1, it's hard to get out of, and 2, you're just hurting yourself longer, physically and mentally. With what I've learned, obviously I'm no therapist. I am just a person who has dealt with a lot of stuff, that not everything is going to work for you, and you really should take the time to figure out what will, because it makes all the difference. The moment you find something that works for you. Finding what works for you, because like I said, you only have you. There's no one else that's going to take care of you but you. My lips are so chapped. My fucking lip oil took it all up. This is the makeup look. Can't really tell. Like, you can, but you can't. That concludes today's video, though. Hopefully you learned something, or you didn't. You know, it is what it is. But hopefully you guys feel great as we are in the new year, you know. This should be the year that you put yourself first and take care of you. Hope you have a wonderful day, beautiful people, and I'll see you next time.